Rich here again with another unboxing. This is a new game, Thomas Spitzer's Haspelknecht. It's from Quined Games, but it's the third and last game in his Cold trilogy. The first two were put out by Spielworks, but somehow that didn't come to pass. Let's remove the shrink. I was really looking forward to this game, as I've collected the other two games in the series. So, the artwork is pretty distinctive in this one, by Sich. Inside, there's a bunch of plastic bags, which we'll need. There's resource markers. If we look inside, well, let's do that. There's little black cubes for coal, yellow wheat markers for wheat, and blue teardrops to represent water, which is an annoying thing that gets in your way in this game a lot. Another bag of wood, and I don't think I'll dump it out in the same place, has wooden pieces. Those are things that you have to build to reinforce your mines. There are colored player markers. I think this is the turn marker. There are some other black markers for marking things on the board. Some of the round tokens are actually not player markers, but they go into the bag and you draw them for potential actions that go on a board. Speaking of bags, here's the bag, black, and here are the rules. Let's see, there's actually 4 rule books. Looks like French. Wait, no, that was Italian. This must be French, right? No, Dutch. Alright. French, German, and English. American English. The paper stock is actually not glossy, which is fairly unusual these days. It's flat stock. But the rule book has lots of pictures, and you can see pictures of the components. Black, brown, and yellow are action discs. Blue, red, white, and green are the player discs. Okay. It says one rule book, but they don't really mean it. You can see it's got color with examples on the side and a pretty nice layout. It's just a little unusual to not be glossy, but still, I don't think it's really an issue. And the discussion of game flow and how the way mining works, because it's a little bit different and complicated. Not super complicated, but just not necessarily intuitive, even though it's, I guess, based on historical fact. You have workers and resources, things you can do. There are a lot of limitations on things you can do, and one of the important parts of the game is building your own, they're called development tiles, but it's sort of a tech tree, and there's a description of how they work, and then there's different ways you can lay them out, because you actually do a tree-like development of your text during the game. Well, let's see some of that as we take out the components. Fair amount of cardboard here. No, maybe we'll just... No, that's not going to work either. Okay, time for knife. So... there we go. Crash. Things that you add to your player board to have different kinds of storage and capabilities. Here's I think, yes, these are the resource for 2, 3, and 4 player games. As you can see, the die cutting's pretty nice. These are the 4 initial player boards with the guy who works your mine and the guy who'll get the water out of your mine. With those eventually. This is an upgraded worker of some kind that you can acquire. There's other markers for using the well to get water out, some conversion things that go with tech tree upgrades. And here we have, okay, this is all bundled together with a different color wrapper. Some editing will be required. So this is the actual tech tree items. They have a requirement, a capability, and a class that affects some things at the end of the game. You lay them out, and actually not this pattern. There's a different pattern you use for the beginning game. There we go. You put them out like this, and the development board, and you lay them out in a pattern, and then people have to develop them. There's an advantage to developing a technology first. Other players you'll get rewarded. There are advantages for going certain ways in terms of meeting endgame bonus conditions. So there's the individual player board. You can see at the beginning you have the guy who can dig for coal in the pit in your farm. Eventually you'll start, after you empty the pit level, you'll actually develop a more realistic mine. There's this coal that's available, and timbers you have to put in place before you can have access to the coal to keep the whole mess from falling down on you. There will be water coming in periodically, flooding your mine. Eventually you'll have to get somebody, well, this guy can take some water out or dig some coal, but eventually you'll need somebody better. You have a farmer and a laborer, and they can do certain tasks. You can also have a wheelbarrow. I think that's technology you have to develop, and things that you add on to your farm. You saw that sheet earlier. And this supports 4 players. 1, 2, 3, and there's a 4th player board, which I haven't found. Here we go, 4th player board. All right. More of the technologies that you can put out. I think these are some of the simpler, lower cost ones. A bucket, a wheelbarrow, a ladder, a cart. Some of the technology is pretty primitive. Of the 3 games, this is set earliest in the time frame, when things are pretty primitive. The game, Rondel, basically, each turn is a year. There'll be some water, move some stuff around, do some digging, do some more actions. You keep doing that. There'll be, harvest stuff. Get something for your coal, and each turn, each of the years, there's 3 years in the game, you're going to be on the hook to pay some taxes. Yes, of course. It's not exactly free enterprise. The rest of the technologies, these are the really cheap ones. Get a rope, be able to carry 2 buckets at once, a hammer. It's in a storehouse. There's some money. As you can see, there's not much money. That's all the money in the game right there. Yes, for 4 players. And that's the year marker. And these are part of setting up the tech tree, and those are the components. I played the game, but not with other players, at EuroQuest. Right after it came out, I went through the rules and set it up. I was pretty sure I would be getting it anyways, because I have the other games in the series. But it was actually fun. It's less complicated rule-wise than other games in this series, so it's probably a good place to start. I think, look forward to Thomas Spitzer's future designs on other things. I hope he'll keep designing, because I enjoyed the games. Some of them, the other 2 in the series, are fairly complex, but all very thematic and with interesting artwork. Well, thanks for watching another one of my unboxings, and you can check out other things I've done on www.playboardgamesbetter.com for occasional things I do that I think are interesting and fun. Thanks again, and have fun playing.